here today with Mrs. Ross. How you doing again, Miss Ross?
Good.
And Mr. Phil Johnson. Glad to have you here with us today, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I know you are busy. I see you on every single, oh my God, picnic, event, debate, forum, car party, PlayStation party, horseshoes, kickball, everywhere. We see this gentleman everywhere, and I mean everywhere. Seriously, all jokes aside, I mean that. And thank you for that. So many times we have politicians that run for office and they don't show up, but glad that you are here, and that you are running for the runoff election for Newton County Chairman.
Well, thank you.
What made you, for those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and what made you decide to run?
Well, Landis, I'm from Newton County, went to school here, raised my children here. This is home for me. And I practiced law here 41 years. I represented Newton County in the Georgia House of Representatives in the late 70s, early 80s, and have been associated with county government in one way or another since then. I've known all the chairmen of the Board of Commissioners since the late 1960s.
Wow.
And
Wow.
known most of the district commissioners who served during that time.
Wow.
And I guess what got me in this race was 2 years ago. I just sensed that there was a real void in leadership in the chairman slot, and the Board of Commissioners was struggling. No one was at the head of the table trying to build consensus and direct the conversation and move us towards solutions, and we were constantly kicking the can down the road, putting off decisions, and I knew we had to do something about it. Probably a better explanation of why I'm in it, though, if you really drill down to the heart and soul, is that I have 10 grandchildren and one great-grandchild, and I want Newton County to be a place that has where they can, after they go to school, they come back home, they'll be able to find living wage jobs and buy a home and send their kids to school here in Newton County.
Yes.
Will mean the same thing to them that it's meant to me.
And that's very important too as well. What we see you around, we see you out and about in debates. We see you representing Newton County already. A lot of new businesses are coming towards our county and the corridor, I would say, between Rockdale, Newton, and even further down 20. What would you do to that business, that Fortune 500 company that wants to come here? What are some of our selling points? What are some of the things that you can do? Because at the end of the day, from what I'm hearing from everybody, the two of the top issues are jobs and transportation.
That is it. You're right. We have to start attracting good jobs for our people if we want to attract and keep people that already live here. We've got to have living wage jobs, not service sector jobs.
That's right.
And Newton County is blessed with parts of it that make it really appealing for new businesses. We have an abundance of water. We have an airport which will one day be a regional airport. We have, in fact, they're building a terminal building over there now. We're coming along. We've got a lot of expressway exposure. We have 5 exchanges in Newton County. We have a good population. We have a lot of potential employees here. And what I really see happening is, you look at what you see on national news, and you see stories of discord and disunity and people at odds with each other along racial and political and economic lines. Well, my campaign, what we've seen is that that Newton County can be very different from that. If you've seen my mailer, and you see the pictures on there, we've done a campaign that was inclusive, and we've attracted diversity in all parts of the county. When we won Landis, and we were the lead vote getter in the May 24th race. We won 13 of 22 precincts. We came in within just almost single digits in 4 more precincts.
Wow.
And they were in the far west, in the middle of the county, in the far east. I mean, it just showed that we can unify in this county, and that's going to be one of my selling points. Is look at the unity in Newton County, and all the things that I mentioned, and the fact that we have 7 post-secondary educational institutions in Newton County. There are not many counties that what we have to attract industry in here. Now, what we've got to do is get our act together as a county. I think we're going to move past some of the disharmony we saw at the board level over the last couple of years. We're going to have new board of commissioners, and we're going to have a new chairman, and I hope I'm able to participate in that.
Hey, that's true. That's true, and we hope and pray that you are the person. When it comes down to, well, first of all, we've talked. Me and Ms. Ross have talked about it back and forth with issues going on in this community today, society today, with law enforcement. Things, and I've been trying to tell our listeners and everybody out there that if you don't vote, you don't count. And I said something to a group of people the other day, and they agreed. I got a round of applause. We can march 1,000 times around downtown Atlanta, but if we're not meeting or making change, it doesn't mean anything. And the answer is not violence against officers. There's excellent police officers. I don't want to live in a place where it's lawlessness, and so we need each other to make it by. I get it. I'm a black male. I have been stopped before, and I understand where people are coming from. But violence is not the answer. It's not the answer. But what is the answer is what I say is, if you're marching, you're voting, you're mad. You're marching, you're upset, and you're mad, demonstrating, and you're mad, and you're not registered to vote. You're part of the problem too. So, what do you think about it?
I think so too. I was thinking about. I was talking to my nephew because they went down and marched and everything. So I was just asking a question to him, like, what is the end outcome? What do you personally expect to see from marching, And he really didn't have an answer. But it's like, everybody wants to be involved, but let's get involved in the right way.
And that's important.
Yes, important. Because when I say get involved in the right way, make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you're going out and vote. But we want to vote for what we think is just the big election. But each election counts.
That's right.
So if it's on the ballot, if it's a day to vote, that means it's of some kind of importance that they even have it on the ballot for us to go out and vote for it. But we have a mindset of we only need to vote when it's the president's time, But there are local laws and local things that are being addressed that we don't know nothing about because we're not in tune with what's going on in our city or in our county or even in America. We don't know. Then we get to the polls. We want to know what this question is all about. I they had somewhere, but you have to do your research before you go, so that you can know what you're up against when you get in the booth to vote.
Landis, I've lived longer than either of you, and so I've got a little historical perspective. But what I see in this country, it reminded me week before last when we had such a bad week. It reminded me of 1968. I remember 1968, Dr. King was assassinated in April, and if you, for those who don't watch current events, go back and listen to the speech that Bobby Kennedy made on that night, talking about the loss and the frustration and the anger, but urging people on the right way to funnel that frustration and anger. And of course, two months later, he himself had been killed, and it was a time of heated rhetoric and difficult times. That there is a difference today. In 1968, not everybody had an AK-47,
That's true.
the 30-bullet clip.
That's true.
So we live in a time where we have sort of sown the seeds of the means to harm at a much greater speed and ability than we've had in the past, and we have to deal with that at some point too, with common sense, safe gun laws. But the truth of the matter is that the way we deal with these problems is we look at them together, we unify, we become educated on the issues, and then we vote. The ballot box is the police.
I have another, and this is a roundabout question or issue. Once again, thank you for coming on board. We have a problem with our county, and I've heard Rockdale was kind of experiencing some of the same things too. When you're running for office, how can you say I'm vying for office? I'm going. You made a good point, Ms. Ross touched it on point about when people say they're running. You got to run.
You got to run. You have, if you're running for something, you have to run for something. No.
I'm not gonna run. I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna be there.
So you can't sit for the seat. You have to run for the seat.
We laugh about it all the time.
Run.
And right now, Phil is running for.
He's running.
And he's involved in the community, but nobody has seen his opponent. His opponent, other than seeing him, under a tent asking for somebody to vote for him during the election. But as far as any of the debates, any of the forums, nobody's seen him. Even his people haven't seen him.
So his tactic is to sit for the seat, but you're supposed to be running. So maybe he didn't get it. Maybe somebody did not give him the baton, and he didn't know that he was supposed to take off running.
And you can't do that. How can you represent us and we don't even know what you stand for?
So
there's no knock against the candidate.
Yes.
But if we don't know what your platform is and we don't know what you're going to do, we can't vote for you. And we're hearing that. I know both, and the candidate is a very nice guy, but it's not about being a nice guy who's your color, who you like, or who's your friend, or who you go to church with. You want leadership that's going to lead the county. I mean, I always tell the story. I have a friend of mine who actually works on cars, and I went out and bought an Audi some years ago, and my car went bad, and I had some issues, and I said, should I take it to him? I'm like, no, that's my friend, but just because he's your friend doesn't mean that he can work on your car. I know somebody practicing heart surgery on me just because they're a friend. You want leadership, so, and I'm sorry to ramble, Phil, but with all that being said, what is it, why is it so important to you to come out to Springfield, to Church of Covenant, to the Silo, board meetings, water authority? I mean, you're everywhere. What is the disconnect where you're everywhere and the other person is nowhere?
I'm not sure, and I can't address his campaign, but I will tell you this: that when I decided to run, there were a couple of heartfelt things I had. Number one, and I told my wife this, I said, even if we're not successful, we're going to raise the level of conversation in this community and talk about issues. And, you know, all the issues that face county. And the other thing that was really important to me was that we deal with this dichotomy of the East Newton County and the West Newton County, and we have a unified one Newton County.
Yes, yes.
And so I felt that it was critical that I reach every part of Newton County. We've been to events in New Bern, Georgia. We've been at the silos. We were at the Philstone picnic Saturday afternoon. We've had 5 formal forums.
Wow.
Then we had we ourselves sponsored 2 town hall meetings, one at Potter's, one at